we go. All right, so mornings with Mark. I wanted to talk about AI because yesterday was Microsoft's Build conference. AI came up a lot. Today is Google's I/O. That's going to tackle on AI a significant amount. And in fact, I was just reading an article, I'm just pulling it up here, in The Guardian from the weekend where the Welsh police in South Wales in a Champions League final in 2017 had deployed facial recognition software that had a 92% false positive rate. 92%. AI is far from flawless. Now, that case with the Welsh police was really interesting. They didn't make any false arrests based on that. They were using the AI to filter it up for further human investigation, which tends to be the best case for AI, is have the AI sort out all the data and then push it up to humans for further analysis. But this ties to a panel I attended at South by Southwest on the ethics of AI. And a lot of the announcements you're going to hear this week are just like, yay, AI, it's the best thing ever. And I think it is a huge help to the problem set of sifting through the massive amounts of data that we're making. The challenge comes around when we start to make impactful decisions based on it. So I had spoken about this a number of episodes back. Palantir had fired up, and I know it's a bad word, but they had fired up a system that they were using to help police departments make predictive sort of interventions to prevent crime from happening. And of course, lo and behold, it turned out to be insanely biased towards the Black community and other minorities and diversity communities. And the problem is, of course, is the data that was going into it was insanely biased because the data and the policing in those neighborhoods has historically been biased. So, everyone's saying, oh, the AI was biased. Well, no, the data you shoved into it was biased. And there was a problem on the outside, right? And these are the kinds of issues, and I'm not saying that, there's a simple fix here, but this was the thrust of the panel with some of the luminaries, and I'll link to the panel description down low because you're well off going through those researchers' notes, and seeing their papers on ethics in AI, or following Fei-Fei Li from Google, or any number of luminaries in this field where they're looking at the impact of the decisions of the things that they're making. And that's something that we fail to do quite often, is to look at the impacts of some of these decisions that we make. So the case of the Welsh police, they ensured that they weren't making direct arrests based on it, but still 92% of the people flagged were just fans there for the football match. That's an issue, right? Uber diving into the details of the fatal crash, right? And they just hired somebody from the NTSB saying, well, the lack of a decision to swerve. I guess where I'm kind of getting at here is that there's a lot of cool stuff going on in AI, but there's a much bigger question that we need to continue to ask ourselves and to regularly ask ourselves, and that's, are we programming in the right types of decisions for, or the right biases or the right preferences for the community? And it's funny because this is one of those episodes where everything just kind of jumbles, and I'm sorry that it's all off the whack. But a couple weeks ago, I was kindly invited to a Canada Beyond 150 event to review some of the young public servants' works on the future of public service. And one of the things that was a really interesting and fascinating discussion was sort of the transparency behind AI decision making. And if they were going to use AIs to help make policy decisions based on better data and better information, was how could you justify that decision if there was a mistake, or even if not, how could you trace that back in the name of open and transparent government? How could you trace that decision back? And I think we're facing that same issue in a lot of places where AIs are making more decisions for us. Machine learning is making more decisions, but it's really difficult for us to decide or to trace back those decisions to see if they're correct or not. XKCD had a phenomenal cartoon the other day where, in jest, they were saying, I don't trust my machine learning plots when it's much easier to draw a new or find a new constellation than basically to find the mean or the average or the confidence line. Now, that's a really apt statement, and I think that's something we're all going to have to dive into. So pretty random discussion this morning. Just something that's on my mind is I'm going to watch day 2 of MS Build and day 1 of Google I/O, and I expect it to be tons of new AI announcements, and it's exciting. There's lots of cool stuff going on. I was thinking of an AI pipeline even for this show, just simply to pull the audio out and then do some analysis, do some sentiment analysis, figure out if I'm positive or negative on a day, what I'm really talking about, even though I'm rambling for a while. That kind of stuff's extremely valuable, but as we push AI into more impactful decision areas, for the real world and for society, we need to be careful. Not stop. I'm not saying we need to stop or we need to do something to prevent this stuff. I think we just need to be aware of it, and that's the biggest challenge right now, is a lack of awareness of the impacts of these decisions. Just because we can build something doesn't mean we should be. Anyway, it's all about discussion. It's all about sunlight. Hit me up here online at MarkNCA. In the comments below, if you're seeing this after the fact on any of the other networks, I hope you are set up to have a fantastic Tuesday. I look forward to talking to you and engaging soon. Take care. I will fix the microphone problem, even though this is one of my favorite mobile mics, at some point so that you hear us better. And tomorrow, of course, I'll be lit better. Have a good one. Take care.